Yo, what's cracking, guys? Faison here, and today I'm bringing you guys the deck I played for the XYZ festival. If you're interested in how to play this in like normal ranked Master Duel, just stick around because I'm going to go over that right after. The lists are not super different, but yeah, we played Numerons. I felt that this was just going to be the best deck for the XYZ festival because there's only a few decks that come to mind when I think of decks that only need XYZ monsters. You could play like a worse version of Lyrilusk. You could play this, Sharks, or Zodiac. And I kind of already just had these cards around because this is a deck that I quite enjoy in real life, so I wanted to make it in the game. In all honesty, this is not a tier 1 competitor for normal ranked Master Duel. I just want to be very clear. It's a lot of fun. If you really like gimmicky one-shot decks, this deck has a pretty high ability of being able to end the game in one turn. And so that's really fun. But yeah, let's go ahead and get right into it. We played the Gamma Driver package. I would actually remove these. There's a few changes I would make off the bat just because in the XYZ festival, some stuff just didn't make as much sense. So for example, because you cannot go into the Cyframe Omega to clear your own board and make it empty so that Numeron Network can resolve, Gamma and Driver actually just end up screwing you out of your own turn. So I would actually replace these with limiter removals. I just don't have them. So I'm not playing them in the ranked version of the deck either, but I'm going to go ahead and give you guys a few ideas of what you can include otherwise. And then other than that, people just weren't playing traps in the XYZ festival from my experience, so I would also cut this and put in another Memories of Hope, which again, I just don't have it. But yeah, going over back into the list, we have the 3 Numeron Wall. You have to play it at 3. It's the way you get to your field spell. 3 Max C, and the Ash Blossom for that matter. These could be really anything. I just kind of figured these are generic enough hand traps, and Max C gets me more draws because if you don't see your field spell in your opening hand, you just kind of lose, in all honesty. So we play like Max C plus 10 copies of the field spell. Speaking of, we have 3 Planet Pathfinder, which gets you to your field spell. We have Lava Golem and Godarla. This is just because you're always choosing to go second, so you want to be able to break the board. Because people aren't playing Barrier Statue of the Stormwinds, this Godarla doesn't really need to be the wind one. It could be the Gamma Seal instead, which is just lower attack. We're playing the 1 Harpy's Feather Duster, 1 Terraforming, 2 Memories of Hope, 3 Lightning Storm. As you can tell, these are all just like going to be either generating advantage in some way or blowout cards. We're playing the 2 Calling and 3 Network. The reason you don't play 3 Calling is because you play 10 copies of the field spell. This is meant to get you to your extra deck. You don't really want a hard draw Calling. There are some situations where it feels good to have it, but I think in the majority of situations you'd much rather have some kind of other blowout card. The 3 limiter removal, I think especially for the XYZ festival, this is good because I saw the mirror a bunch. I played 25 total games on this deck for the XYZ festival, and I won 21 of them. Out of the 4 I lost, 3 of them were actually just the mirror. And what happens in the mirror is, if you're going first, you just end your turn, because first of all, there's no reason to leave a monster on board because they're going to be able to just double on you. And second of all, you just can't leave any kind of real threat on board in the form of a monster because you don't have access to your links. So the limiter removal comes up because when your opponent leaves their board empty, if you have limiter removal in hand, it lets you kill them even through an empty board. We're playing the 2 Cosmic Cyclone just because it's chainable, the 2 Called by the Grave. This really only comes up if you only have one way to get to your field spell in the form of like a Planet Pathfinder or a Terraforming, and you want to banish the Ash. Or on the chance that someone's playing Ghost Ogre, which someone was one game, you use the Called by to banish the Ogre and negate it so it doesn't destroy your network. And then we're playing the 3 Droplet, which is just a blowout card. For the extra deck, we played 2 of each gate and the 1 C1. This just comes up mostly in the mirror because if you're going first and you suspect you're in the mirror because they made you go first, and especially in the XYZ festival, if someone else is going second, you can bet they're playing some kind of blowout deck. Whether it be this or like Cyber Dragons, I feel like those are pretty safe bets if they make you go first. So what I would often do is I go into my 4 monsters and then immediately go into my C1, which will banish itself and the 3 remaining monsters. Then they will go into their 4 monsters, do 4,000 damage if they don't have the limiter removal, and then during my turn again, because there are 7 banished gate cards total, the Chaos Gate will come back, deal 7,000 damage, and then I can attack directly for 2,000, and that's game. And that actually did come up in the mirror a couple times. But yeah, going into the real way to play the deck, there's a few obvious differences just because of what you expect to see. I actually cut the Ash Blossoms. I felt that they could be better utilized as the Gamma Driver package, because those two can turn into Cyframe Lord Omega, which can banish himself to hand rip from your opponent's hand, and it clears your board back up. This is also a great way to protect your Numeron network from Ghost Ogre, or if they have Ash Blossom, you tribute away your Planet Pathfinder as cost, they Ash Blossom, and now your board is empty, so you can use Gamma. It's wonderful. Other than that, pretty similar list, going down until about here. The Memories of Hope, since I didn't have it, I was just playing a 3rd Lightning Storm. And then these limiter removals were actually Droll and Lockbirds, or Ash Blossoms. When I was like playing it in ranked, both Droll and Ash just aren't as good as blowout cards in my experience, so I would play it with this list. Same chainables here at the end, and you just keep the reboot because Eldritch is a really big problem on ladder. Going into the extra deck, it's mostly the same in this first row besides the Omega, and then you get 2 Infinite Track Fortress Megaclops. This is a terrific card, just to, if you're forced to go first, you can leave this up on board, and a lot of decks have trouble outing it because they either need to be playing Xyz monsters, so that often means they have to go into suboptimal like Zeus lines for most decks, or they have to have some kind of spell and trap way to get rid of him, which a lot of people don't play Imperm just because it's not super great this meta, so I find that Megaclops is like a great card to just sit on for a while. This Saryuya helps you mulligan your hand away. I haven't crafted it just because I don't really go into it that much in real life. The Avermax, same thing. I think it's useful to have just as utility, but I don't ever really go into it. The Appaloosa I made early just because if they force you to go first, and for whatever reason you think that Megaclops isn't the right call, Appaloosa is a great way to just stall out a turn. And then the Underworld Goddess, if they go first and they set up some kind of towers like Adignisters does, this is your out to it. And so, yeah, other than that, I think the deck, like I said, is really good in the Xyz game mode. I don't think it's terrific in ranked, but if you're into, like, gimmicky decks that one-shot people, it's a fun one for sure. But I do think it is a bit expensive for what you get, in all honesty. Either way, expect some gameplay. I do love the deck. I have it, like, right here, actually. Just because who doesn't like the feeling of hitting for 8k once in a while? But yeah, let me know what you guys think. Let me know if you guys like the Xyz game mode. Like I said, I think it's pretty average to below average. It's pretty boring. So I was just trying to get in and out of there as quickly as possible with this deck, and thankfully I'm done with it and we can go back to playing ranked. But yeah, I'll catch you guys later. Peace.